The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for your time joining us today in our, since a very long time, our first customer day for X3 with the theme of digital transformation beyond financial management. Okay, so if I look into the agenda today and some of the speakers that we are going to speak on today, okay, firstly, we'll have Alvin to discuss with us and share with us a little bit more about the roadmaps and also some of the key things that the customers have feedback to us, where security is one of their main concerns, how we're addressing a lot of these kind of security items and so on. Okay, then I'll share a little bit in terms of how do we go beyond just financials or typical ERP with some of our add-ons and complementary solutions. And finally, of course, we'll have Genevieve, which is our inside sales executive, will share with everyone in terms of what's good about the renewals or the Sage cover, that what benefit will actually come together with it through Sage in a sense. Okay, so a little bit more in terms of the agenda. Okay, like I said, we'll touch a little bit in terms of roadmap, some best practices in the security. What can your organization or your business partner can assist on in terms of how to strengthen your security practices in that sense, and a little bit in terms of our lifecycle policy, and of course in terms of the upgrade of the X3 itself, how can we assist in that sense? Okay, so without further ado, I will pass on the airtime to Alvin to share with us a little bit more in terms of the roadmap. Over to you, Alvin.
All right, thank you, Chitong. Good morning, everyone. All right, so today we're going to share customer feedback driving our strategy. All right, many businesses today are using digital technologies to change, improve, and replace existing business processes. These digital transformations are often largely focused on improving the customer experience and changing how customers interact with businesses and their products. As a result, they are turning to modern ERP systems in response to pressure for greater transparency, advanced business reporting, and the need for improved organizational efficiency. Understanding your need and your kind feedback to us allows us to drive our strategy for Sage X3. This is what you have said, and this is what is driving our goal and ambition for Sage X3. First and foremost, we strive to drive customer satisfaction by helping customers to the latest releases and start enjoying new capabilities. Secondly, we have and will continue to make improvements to security features and minimizing security breaches. Third of all, we will continue to make Sage X3 easier to use and implement. Fourthly, we will remain focusing and winning in industries where we are the leaders. Lastly, we strive to drive cloud adoption through comprehensive cloud experiences. Yet, as businesses harness the power of centralized data, they become more valuable. Vulnerability, it can put customers' sensitive information, such as their personal and financial data, at risk. Cyber criminals can exploit these vulnerabilities to gain unauthorized access to the system, steal confidential information, or engage in malicious activities such as fraud, identity theft, and ransomware attacks. In addition to the potential financial harm, customers may also experience inconvenience and frustration if the ERP system is disrupted due to a security breach. For instance, if the system is down, customers may be unable to access their accounts, make payments, or receive products or services they have purchased. Overall, security vulnerabilities in ERP systems can have significant implications for customers, including financial losses, inconvenience, and loss of trust in the company. Here, we can see that there were a number of security vulnerabilities which occurred since year 2020. At Sage, you can be assured that we take privacy and data security very seriously. We work closely across Sage teams to identify and help mitigate any associated issues as they arise. When we become aware of a potential security risk in Sage X3 that may impact customers, we will release fixes for immediate implementation. Like any ERP system, Sage X3 requires continuous updates and improvements to keep pace with the changing business requirements and technology advancements. This is where we would like to share with you our Sage X3 technical components roadmap. Being our customer, you can also be assured that Sage is working relentlessly to ensure that Sage X3 is secured and protected from cyber threats. This is evident in our focus on enhancing security in our technical components. All the resources shown here are the technical components in our Sage X3 architecture. As cyber threats become more sophisticated, it is essential to keep Sage X3 updated to prevent security breaches. Updating components regularly ensures that vulnerabilities are patched, reducing the risk of cyber attacks. With this in mind, Sage X3 is always updated to ensure full compatibility with the latest version of technical components. For example, our current 2022 version now supports Windows Server 2022, Red Hat 8.4, Oracle 19c, and so on. 2023 R1, our next version, which is to be released in April, will support SQL Server 2022, Node.js 18, and so on. Security represents a strong focus in the design and development of Sage X3. A security policy is always compromised by its weakest link. It is therefore critical to pay attention to the security of your systems and implementation. The safety of an on-premises installation depends on the security measures that are in place within your network. The architecture you implement is key to your security, especially if your system can be accessed from the public internet. As such, Sage recommends the following deployment architecture, which is quite similar to the cloud deployment architecture. Our security best practices also recommend some general guidelines to ensure security. From general security perspective, you are recommended to use HTTPS for product instances, since Sage X3 is a web application and thus it must be accessed using an HTTPS connect. You are also recommended to keep your systems up to date by applying the latest system and software fixes. This includes the latest Sage X3 patches. Our updates can provide enhancements to security, performance, and functionalities. From network security perspective, you are recommended to use local firewalls on your Sage X3 servers or network layer controls to lock any IP port that is not needed for Sage X3 operation or user access. We will not be going through all the security guidelines, but you can always find our security best practices on our Sage X3 Online Help Center. The Sage X3 roadmap is focused on delivering incremental value designed to support the needs of our customers. We provide biannual updates to ensure customers can extract value and provide feedback to Sage on a regular basis. The strategic roadmap initiatives for Sage X3 are based on customer and business partner feedback and help drive all of our development activities. Organizations are changing the way they do things to remain competitive. As a result, one of our initiatives is simplification and ease of use through streamlining processes, increasing automation, and simplification of labor-intensive tasks. How Sage achieved this is through improving our X3 mobile automation with new capabilities to support modern operation environments. For example, customer can now use a mobile app to scan a barcode, perform delivery, receiving stock, etc. Nowadays, many organizations are using other systems beside their ERP system to conduct their businesses. Hence, another initiative is to provide smooth and seamless experience for customers with external solutions through powerful web APIs and custom API endpoints. We continuously develop features and new capabilities for delivery on a biannual release cadence. When the features are complete, we provide the update to our on-premise customers for them to install the updates when it is convenient for them. For cloud customers, we deliver the latest release update in the cloud and provision this for our customers, ensuring quality of service is maintained. The Sage X3 Lifecycle Policy specifies how long maintenance will be available for a release of Sage X3, from when the product is available for purchase to when it reaches the end of maintenance date. It is designed to provide consistent and predictable guidelines on maintenance of Sage X3 versions throughout the life of the product. When a version of Sage X3 is made generally available, which is GA, it begins a journey through the lifecycle maintenance stages. Current maintenance stage. This is the first lifecycle stage on the left and the most robust and complete level of maintenance available for that version of Sage X3. In the middle is our standard maintenance stage. It is the second lifecycle stage and begins when the current maintenance stage expires and ends when the product enters extended maintenance. Extended maintenance stage, which is found on the right-hand side, is the third lifecycle stage and begins at the end of the standard maintenance stage and ends when the product reaches the end of the extended maintenance stage as published. The chart outlines the life cycle stage for Sage X3 version 11 and earlier. The date indicates when a release enters a life cycle stage. For example, Sage has taken the decision to extend the current maintenance from 3rd of April 2023 to 1st of April 2024. Sage X3 version PU9 went into end of maintenance on 1st July 2021. At the end of the Sage X3 lifecycle stages, a release of Sage X3 enters into end of maintenance. This does not mean that the software will stop working when the version reaches end of maintenance. It can still be used. However, Sage will withdraw any maintenance. A customer with an active subscription or a valid maintenance and support contract will still receive support and assistance from their Sage customer support team, as well as knowledge base, online help, and other content, and will remain eligible to the latest release of the software. Sage, however, will no longer issue patches, updates, bug fixes, or security updates for Sage X3 version PU9 and earlier. Therefore, Sage strongly recommends customers who are still in Sage X3 version 11 to contact their Sage business partner to upgrade to version 12. We understand that upgrading Sage X3 versions may be a painful journey for both customers and business partners, and therefore we have developed some tools which can make the upgrade faster, but also to simplify the upgrades when customizations are present on a folder. First, we have the Sage X3 Automated Test Platform, which is a tool to help you test various scenarios against Sage X3 updates. For example, as a developer, you could test your customizations against an update to validate or determine if there are any issues that must be addressed prior to updating Sage X3. It also allows you to write and execute automated regression tests. With such a tool, you can be assured of the quality work that has taken place to set up your Sage X3. In terms of cumulative patching, Sage also delivers a single archive file that only provides the latest version or latest hotfix level. By only providing the latest version of each fixed element, the number of patches to install has been considerably enhanced. The easy patching function determines which patches are installed based on the version to upgrade. The customization audit tool checks all the custom developments or modifications done in a folder by comparing it with the reference or root folder. It lists any item that constitutes a risk or a violation of development rules and highlights the risk level and detected anomaly. You can then drill into the details of each highlighted issue and fix the problem. All right, so that's it for my session. Thank you, everyone. And now I shall pass on to the next speaker, Mr. Fuchitong, to touch on extending the power of your Sage X3 add-on solution. To you, Chitong.
All right, thank you very much, Elvin. I think that's a very interesting sharing from Elvin in a sense in terms of security and also some of the life cycle policies that we have and of course the extended roadmap that we are looking into to really enforce that we hear from the customers to basically move on and develop functionalities which is of your interest in that sense. So next up, right, I'll be sharing a little bit in terms of some of the extended solutions that actually powers your Sage X3. Not all, basically, but some of it which we think that it could be of interest to most of our customers here today in that sense, right? Again, not all. This is 5 of the items that we'll be sharing a little bit more today. First and foremost, of course, our Sage Enterprise Intelligence, which is one of our BI tool that we utilize for that a lot of our Sage customers actually utilize, where it has pre-built cubes and template from day one you can utilize in terms of the standard data that we already have in that sense. So a lot of our customers in that sense we're using a lot of other BI solutions where they need to spend considerable amount of time to build the cubes and the templates to be able to start generating quality BI dashboardings and so on, which could look into taking a look at in terms of Sage Enterprise Intelligence. Okay, and then on the left-hand side portion, which is the Boost Order and Pay Recon, these are the two very interesting add-on that we currently have, where you actually enhance your capability when you do sales going out to reach out to your customers in that sense. So we'll go a little bit more detail on these two particular versions. Okay, and the other one, of course, most of our X3 customers do have multiple entities, sometimes even cross borders to multiple different companies within the region or several regions in that sense. So LookaNet is a little bit of a CPM solution, which allows you to really connect all the data together to report it in multiple different IFRSs or tax submission, tax reporting, and so on. That's a tool which allows a lot of our X3 users much ease in that sense. I still remember back in the days where we had to submit the compact in that sense, right, which takes a lot of time, and there's huge amount of Excel tabs and sheets in that sense. So this will actually reduce that particular huge amount of work in that sense. And of course, last but not least, if your organization has huge plants or many office buildings which requires a CMMS to actually maintain either preemptive or the on the spot kind of reporting, maintenance work, and so on, DemoMain is the other one which actually will probably help you in a lot in those kind of work. So if I move on to the next one in terms of Boost Order in that sense, right? So this is basically a very generic if you are a distributor or even a brand or a manufacturer in a sense, to actually go out and sell the products to your customers in a sense. Okay, just a little bit highlight in terms of in general, there'll be the general trade where you go out to each of your customers to actually sell those items, either via van sales or tele sales or even a sales rep meeting up with them and so on. And then there's the second category, which is the modern trade, which is much more popular in the past 10 years in that sense, right? Where it's actually very much in terms of key accounts where I'm going into supermarkets or even departmental store and so on, that actually requires a little bit more in terms of consignments or much more interaction in terms of the goods within at the premise of your customer's place. So that's the other thing which is of interest of a lot of our customers. Of course, last but not least, in the past 3 years, e-commerce has been a real boom, and most companies nowadays have moved towards e-commerce or are looking into moving to that as well. So this is 3 of the main areas where Boost Order actually comes in play and it helps a lot. And of course, the last one is actually the retail trade in that sense, right? So just to give a little idea in terms of what can Boost Order help in terms of sales automation to ease off further to what typical ERP could do in this case at Sage X3. Okay, so if a salesperson actually goes out, or if you have a team of salesperson actually goes out and do your sales in terms of van sales and so on, using a huge piece of ERP, I'm not saying that's not possible, but there are workarounds to do it from the ERP itself. But with a sales automation solution such as Boost Order, that helps your salesperson actually conduct the whole cycle much more easier in terms of understanding what is the stocks that regularly bought by these particular customers, or manage your trip or to visit different customers in a much more planned, organized way, in that sense, to further optimize that whole experience to your customer, where when you step in to your customer, you already know what was the outstanding invoices, what are the goods that they normally bought, or the top 5 goods that they buy every single time you visit them, and so on and so forth, in that sense. And to be able to straight away allow them to issue a sales order or invoices to the customer if you are going to a much more suburb areas where you don't want to send a physical invoice and so on. That becomes a much shorter process in that sense, right? Of course, what we look into as well is the B2B in terms of e-commerce, in a sense where you will want to have a website. Some customers want a website without a shopping cart, in that sense, but some customers within the last 3 years or during the pandemic, that has evolved a little bit in terms of even having a shop cart for even the business partners that you have in terms of customers, to actually allow them to place all those orders into a shop cart, so that it can automatically convert those to become sales orders, and ease your in-house sales reps to in terms of order taking, in that sense. Okay, so that's something that Boost Order could actually allow to do as well. And the other portion is, of course, in terms of warehouse handling during your van sales, and also in terms of delivery automation. So what we are looking at is at times in terms of proof of delivery, in terms of during return or collection as well, in that sense. But that's something which you can straight away use a handheld or your mobile phone in the matter to actually do a proof of delivery signature and so on. That also becomes a much easier way, where I do not need to come back to the ERP later on to process some of these processes, in that sense, right? Of course, the list of functionality adds on and so on. Okay, so I won't go through a lot of that, but one thing is, Boost Order have the connector through our Sage products in terms of Sage X3 and Sage 300 in that sense. So the integration piece is already taken care of, where most of the connectors is actually already pre-built in that sense. Okay, and of course, next, what we were talking about in terms of pay recon. So like what I was talking about just now in terms of the e-commerce bit, right? So a lot of our customers have moved on to e-commerce in terms of having their own website, and even have shop carts in their website to actually take their business to the next level. But we also see a lot of our customers move on to the much more newer industry, in a sense, to the likes of opening a shop in Shopee, Lazada, TikTok, in especially the ASEAN countries over here. You probably see a lot of more familiar faces like Zalora, Q10, PG Mall, and so on and so forth, right? So what happens over here is Pay Recon actually combines all of this different accounts that you may have within in-country or moving abroad to probably. A lot of our customers have shops in Shopee Malaysia, Shopee Singapore, Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, Vietnam, and so on and so forth, right? To maintain them individually and looking into your warehouse as well, that becomes a huge demand in terms of, especially you're running it from an ERP, because ERP is not meant to service this kind of detailed, minute to the end customer, end consumer in terms of 1 unit, 2 units kind of thing. That will actually be too much transactional item within ERP. That's where a order management system such as Pay Recon actually helps to automate and synchronize all this data back into Sage products in a much more easier way in that sense. To go one step further to that, what Pay Recon actually excel in as well is where the reconciliation work. I think a lot of you will be wondering what's that recon about, right? So it's about the reconciliation work that's done with the platform itself. So if some of you have already have a shop open in these e-commerce platforms, right? They actually do not pay you right away. It's a cycle of 1 or 2 weeks in that sense, depending on which platform in that sense, right? So Pay Recon actually straight away run through that reconciliation with the payment coming back in, especially with all the delivery charges and so on and so forth, to actually reconcile that before pumping the information back into Sage itself. Okay, so that's a little bit in terms of the order management system. Okay, so next in that sense, which I want to go a little bit more into Pay Recon, is where what I was speaking about just now, where we are talking about thousands of transactions on a daily basis on 1 or 2 items, or sometimes even break loose products not in cartons or in individual units and so on. So that's something that Pay Recon actually considers, and they help a lot of customers in that sense, where how to manage this kind of loose items separately outside of ERP instead. Then at the end of the day, writing back into the ERP with a much more summarized manner in that sense. Okay, so one thing good about Pay Recon as well is where it actually manages all the customer chats. Remember, if you're using either TikTok, Lazada, or Shopee and so on, right? Customer can actually put it in and start chatting and so on. So what Pay Recon is, it merges all of these chats together into one platform to allow you to reply your customer much better. I don't know about you guys. Whenever I log into these platforms, I will straight away look at the response rate. If it's any way below 60%, I would think twice before I actually consider buying from them in that sense. So this increase a lot in terms of your response rate to individual customers across the board if you have multiple shops in this platform in that sense. Okay, so a little bit in terms of Pay Recon. So next I want to touch a little bit in terms of, we have all this data, all this sales, purchasing, financials data that we have, right? And at times using a crystal report might not be suffice, especially in terms of management level or even team leads sometimes, right? And where we would want really to have a fully integrated business intelligence, to have an overview of the big picture of what's happening throughout the whole company or throughout the whole organization of several companies in that sense. Okay, so if I may go into a little bit deeper in that sense, so what's so different about BI of Sage Enterprise Intelligence compared with other BIs or the data visualization that's out there in the market, right? The first thing first is it's fully embedded into our Sage solutions in that sense, where across the board, all the 3 product line that we sell in Sage Asia are fully available in terms of SCI. Once you install the solution, all this dashboard that I will show later as well, and also the cubes are preloaded in that sense. So which means that at day 1, all you need to do is have some of your users or your managers to actually learn how to use it, and all these dashboard can be used from day 1 itself. And I'll always tell our customer this is a very, very important point. I have seen a lot of customers buying a BI tool and expecting the BI tool to produce reports exactly the same way as what they did in Excel. And that is actually not really optimizing what a BI tool should be. Mainly because we have done in Excel, we required us to do pivoting and do a lot of manual work to actually generate that. So that's the limitation of Excel. That's why you are moving towards a BI solution. So I always advise our customers that start with what there is in the standard, learn how to drag and drop in terms of knowing what fields there is, which will ultimately come up with your Excel spreadsheet at the end of the day. And with that, right, knowing how easy is it to move on to the next stage after that, where you can actually build it on your own or through your business partners. But BI is a tool for users. It's meant to build it on your own as long as all the information is already inside. If you are linking up to another system altogether, that's a different thing, where the joins and links will probably need to be built by a more IT savvy person. But if as an end user, that's not needed if you're only drawing data from Sage products. So with that being said, a lot of our customers start from what they have in terms of the standard dashboard and standard reports. And within months, they are creating new dashboard and reports that they don't even thought is possible in that sense. So that's the beauty about this. And of course, what I mentioned just now as well, SCI is a true all-out BI tool. It has its own data warehouse as well, which could also connect and get data source from any of the below data source in a sense, whether is it SQL Server, is it Excel file, or ODBC connections, and so on and so forth in a sense. Okay, so if I may just run through very quickly in terms of some of the dashboards that's pre-built over there. Okay, this is just the highlights, and you'll be able to see much more within the solution itself in a sense. Okay, so some of the sales forecasts or realization in terms of maps, map sheets that you will be able to see. So with one look, you'll be able to know and gauge in terms of how is the health of the sales coming along. Right, and the good thing about this is it can go in and drill down to the actual source as well. When I say talk about actual source, I'm not talking about the line within a listing or something. What I'm talking about is back to your X3 application to that particular transaction. And that's how integrated SEI is about within Sage Enterprise, where it's rarely or almost impossible with any other business intelligence solution. Okay, coming next is basically some of the sales or purchasing or even production analysis, where right now getting, especially in terms of production analysis, where you need to draw a lot of reports from Excel and to be able to analyze them much more deeper. It's something which is, I won't say impossible, it takes a lot of human effort. I think the first and foremost thing that we really need to understand is that we would really want to spend as little time as possible to generate the report out and have the maximum time as possible to actually analyzing them. That's the foremost importance. Generating the report out do not bring any value. The value added time is actually to analyze them and to further improve on either your operations, your sales, and to further automate it, where you can actually tell the system that by end of this week or next week or so on and so forth, in terms of time manner, to distribute this report to specific people, or on a different manner in terms of a triggering distribution, what we call them, where if I have certain transactions or certain numbers which hits the threshold, spin off this set of reports so that it actually alerts someone. So what we are looking at is actually a little bit more in terms of knowing it at the month end, comparatively knowing it on the time that the transaction occurs and doing some preemptive work on that in that sense. Right, of course, in a sense where some of the other cash flow in terms of financials, dashboards as well. Of course, we do have listing as well. We understand in terms of financials, a lot of our customers, finance personnel, at the end of the day, still prefer Excel. Don't get me wrong, I say Excel is a limitation, but it's still one of the greatest who ever invented in that sense, right? So we do not reduce or take that functionality away from the finance people, which you are very, very used to and you're very comfortable with. We do have an Excel plug-in into this SCI, into Excel as well, sorry, where within XCI itself, you can draw real live data from X3 and publish it from here using your drag and drop as well in that sense. Okay, so that is something which is very cool, where a lot of BIs have basically moved on away from Excel, but we still think that this is the roots of a lot of financials users in a sense. You want to keep this and make sure that you are familiar and comfortable using your data in that sense. Okay, next in a sense, in terms of like I said just now, in terms of a lot of our customers have more than one entity, and a lot of times across the board in the whole Asia in that sense, right? And within that, especially in terms of financial consolidation and reporting in different IFRS, if you have a company in US, you're probably going to report in GAAP in that sense, okay? And in Malaysia, probably MYFRS, and different countries have a slight difference in terms of how they report as well in that sense. So these two allow you to have that flexibility to be able to report it in different reporting standards, I would say, and at the end to do your financial consolidation, which allows you to do all this data crunching, I would say, from all your Sage instances, or if I know there's quite a few customers as well where in other parts of the region are not using Sage. This is something that LookerNet will be able to assist in terms of bringing those data in as well to actually crunch and do your analysis and reporting in that sense. Okay, just to give you a little bit of flavor in that sense as well, right? So what could be in terms of your company statement, in terms of your consolidation and reporting and so on and so forth, right? It could be from multiple different Sage instances, okay? And then other ERPs, like I said just now, or even Excel, if it's just a sales office in terms of a sales office in a growing country where you are not really intending to build a full team there yet, in a sense. So all this could actually pump into LookerNet, and it can actually generate out your balance sheets, your income statement, your cash flow statements on a consolidated manner or individual company manner as well. So this helps a lot of time in terms of your console packs, okay, where a lot of companies are, believe it or not, are still using console pack with 20-30 tabs on below in terms of Excel and multiple versions, and that gives a lot of finance users a really hard time in terms of getting those add up. And I still remember, because there was one customer where they just couldn't get the numbers to tie up, right? So after weeks of searching, what's the problem? It was because one of the previous, the predecessor basically hidden a column and put a 1 there. So there's always a $1 difference in terms of the tying. It will never tie in a sense. So that's something which is waste a lot of resources to really figure out one minor issue that one user actually added in, right? So this eliminates those kind of items, and again, concentrating more of your time in terms of analyzing the data with a more proper manner in that sense. So if I would move to the next add-on in that sense, right? Last but not least, in terms of Demo Main. Okay, so Demo Main is a CMMS solution which allows you to really manage your assets and job management much more better in that sense. So just put an example into the scenario. So for example, if I have my machines in my production floor in that sense, right? And each of these machines cost millions of dollars. I'm sure all of you are more aware of that than me in that sense, right? So there are certain parts which will need to be serviced after certain that number cycle of runs, or in terms of stamps and so on and so forth. Or there could be something that you individual during the shop floor that's error that they will need to call the service maintenance team to actually service them in a sense. So this solution is really to ease in terms of your management of your service of your assets, where you can actually register in which machine require what spare parts, what's the preemptive cycle that you're looking into, which of your resources are able to deliver which type of work because of certain certifications or know-how, or some of the items where you will require to bring in outside expertise instead. So with this, it actually generates the demand planning as well for you to buy these spare parts to X3, creating a purchase order, and also generating this service contract so that you can actually make sure that it's at ease. All of us know 1 day downtime of your production line may cost a lot of money and reputation risk in terms of delivering late to your customers. Okay, and of course, in terms of Demo Main, it's a CMMS solution where all of us would want to have a much more app solutions where you can actually use the mobile phone as well to actually register the log a case or issue, or for your engineers to actually view and take photos and so on and so forth for future references in terms of knowledge base and so on. Okay, so in short, basically, these are some of the add-ons that we want to share with you. And if there's some interest in this, do reach out to your partners to understand further in that sense. And we do have a list of other add-ons as well. We'll probably share some of the different add-ons in our next session. So with this, I would like to pass on to our next speaker. Jen, over to you.
Hi, thank you, Chitao. Hi, everyone. So today I want to share with you guys the importance of protecting your investment with Sage. So how can you protect your investment with Sage? Is by renewing your Sage cover. Okay, so renewing the maintenance of your Sage cover for Sage X3 is essential for ensuring that your software remains up to date and fully functional, and it can provide many benefits to you as a customer. Okay, so I have categorized them into 4 pillars, explaining the benefits of renewing your Sage cover. So as you can see, first we'll be getting prompt updates on what's new, online library, Sage knowledge base, where you can gain access to. We have our online campus, Sage University, as well as customer webinar series. So let me go deeper into each pillar. So firstly, when we talk about get prompt updates on what's new, with the new version release and bi-yearly enhancements shown in the roadmap that Alvin has shared earlier, customer on valid Sage cover will get to enjoy all the features and functionality with the latest release. Okay, why are upgrades important? It is important to minimize downtime and workarounds. Okay, upgrading also improves the user experience and efficiency of your product. By staying current and installing all service packs, it not only ensures that your software is running at optimal performance, it also reduces possible downtime, user problems, and workarounds. Upgrades introduce vast performance and multi-user. Environment improvements throughout your solution allows you to conduct everyday tasks in a fraction of your time. Okay. Besides upgrade entitlement, customers are also entitled to patches and hotfixes for server issues such as security threats. Our security experts are constantly on the lookout for threats that target products and applications used by our customers. Okay, so valid Sage cover customers are readily allowed to purchase additional user license and modules when there are business requirements and changes. Okay, secondly, we go to online library, our Sage knowledge base. Okay, in our Sage knowledge base and online help center, customers are able to search and access to technical articles and tips written by our Sage support analysts. Sage also provides customers with Sage cover level 2 support through their business partners who are facing software technical issue. Customers can also report bugs and escalate incidents to Sage. Thirdly, we come to our online campus, Sage University. Sage also offers free Sage University end users online training, e-learning training platform to our customers. It allows new hires or new users to learn at their own pace, especially so when their systems are just implemented. It is also beneficial for our existing user as a refresher tool. Lastly, customers webinar series. We regularly conduct free webinars to our valid Sage cover customers to share useful information and gain awareness not only on our products and services, but also on other topics from other agencies to cater for your business needs. And examples of past webinars that we have conducted are foreign exchange controls taxation of cross-border, fundamental of China taxation. These are some webinars where we invited speakers to share and give our customers some insights who have plans to expand their businesses in China. We recently, with the Singapore GST changes in year 2023, we have also conducted a Singapore GST changes webinar where our business owners can learn what to get ready for the GST changes. Okay, so with what I have shared above, we just wanted to echo to all customers that If you do not renew your Sage cover, you will not be enjoying these benefits. There are also a number of risks, including security vulnerabilities, software compatibility issues, and lack of technical support for critical issues. It will be much more cost-effective for you to renew yearly rather than paying reinstatement fee to come back on track or to purchase new set of licenses. This is our assurance to you for an effective and complete business solution to support your growing business. Most importantly, it gives our customer a peace of mind for any unforeseen circumstances that they may come across. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Thanks, Jen. So in a sense where if you really want to know more, right, I think just to add on to what Jen was talking about just now, right, Sage University has been around for some time now. And I think recently you probably Jen would have reached out to some of you as well to actually offer this as a package so that you end user yourself, in terms of your users, can actually ride on this and go on and actually learn more about Sage X3 on the new things, on the existing things if they are new users and so on. But I just want to pinpoint a little bit more in terms of Sage X3 Online Help Center. Okay, all the what's new features that we have in terms of technical help or product help and so on and so forth are all readily available within the application they're using right now. Okay, there is a question mark button when you're using your Sage X3 product. Basically, once you click on it on the top right, basically, you will be able to access this online help center. Okay, where it actually allows a lot of videos as well, tutorials, and also what if, sorry, not what ifs. So there are tutorials and also the product help in terms of by fields, by functionalities, and so on. It's a very, very detailed help. Me, myself, sometimes go in and use this help to actually assist me in terms of the solution as well. So please, if you have not explored these two sites, do take a look at it and start exploring them when you have time in that sense. But last but not least, before we move on to the final piece in terms of question and answers, I'd like to just tick on a little bit in the key takeaways that we have today, right? So I think the first key takeaways is Sage continues to invest what matters to you, all our customers, because what we really believe is customer first. In terms of our roadmap, we hear from our customers, we prioritize our roadmap based on our customers first, and also like you saw just now in terms of the Sage universities and so on, opening it up to our customers as well, making sure that you can protect your investment and to ensure that your users are up to speed and in terms of what's new and understand how to use the solution better in that sense. Okay, second key takeaway in that sense, okay, the only platform that you would ever need, it's Sage, basically. Okay, so like I said just now, Sage, yes, although we are an ERP solution, so as I said, this is just the 5 that I've shared with you today. There are numerous different add-ons as well to cover different segments that an ERP typically do not cover, that we actually bring in different solution providers as well to make our solution much more robust, and it's on single platform so that you guys are assured that the integration points are fully connected and it's ease of use in that sense. Okay, last but not least, I'd like to put it in terms of to strong point on this thing in a sense, we know that upgrading, it's not a simple task, a click of the button in a sense, okay? Although we are moving towards much ease in a sense. So what we have really want to do is also to ease the upgrade with new tools that what Alvin has shared just now to really smoothen the whole upgrade process and journey in a sense, okay? Because all of us know nowadays, in the past 3 years, there have been more cyber attacks than the last 10 years, basically, in that sense. So we would want to be less prone to this vulnerability and to ensure that everyone's up to date in terms of the version and also the latest version in that sense, to make sure that we are on the latest components and the latest security updates as well. So with that being said, I would like to open up the floor for any questions. Do type in your chats so that we can actually take a look at it and view what is there that we can actually answer some of your questions, basically. Okay. Anyone have any question? So do just on your right hand side, there's a question chat box. You can actually type it in. We'll be able to answer the question that you have. Okay. So while we're waiting for some of you to type the answer type the question in that sense, right? So like what Alvin have shared, so our latest release is going to be released next month, which is, we are very excited in it, where with the next month release, we in terms of platform wise, we are actually compatible and moving up in terms of, especially security bit, in terms of if you are using a Linux platform, in a sense, to move ahead to the latest Linux platform, and of course as well as SQL 2022 as well in the sense. So that's something which we are eager and to move on to the latest platform that we have, so to ensure that what happened in the past few security vulnerability that was called out, especially like something like the Node.js and the Apache that came out, which were a lot of vendors are actually impacted by the Apache case, where we straight away addressed it very, very quickly, and that's something that we really move on to in a sense. Okay, so there's a very interesting question. Okay, through add-on provider directly. So in terms of it is asking whether if this kind of the add-on that are shared in the sense, right? What are the how do they get support at the end of the day, right? So as a partner, your current existing business partner, they will be your first line of support in all times in that sense. As long as you are still on maintenance and you are on the maintenance with the partner and Sage, you will be supported, and your first line will be your partner, and then next on, then only we will be either Sage or the if we can't support that, then we will move on to the level 3, which is the provider themselves. Okay, I hope that answered the question. Here's a very interesting question. What's the difference between Sage Enterprise Intelligence with ZBI? Okay, so in case some of you have not known, ZBI is our another business intelligence solution, which actually it's also integrated with Sage as well, in a sense, the Sage Data and Analytics. Okay, so the major differences is it's actually a different grade of BI that we normally position, or we normally, it's meant for different type of users in a sense. Okay, let's put it this way. I would say it's a different segment altogether. Okay, so just to share with everyone in terms of if you are using Sage solutions and you want to tap on the data and you want to build dashboards and so on out of it, Sage Enterprise Intelligence is more than enough capable to do that with the data warehouse and so on. Okay. It does have an ETL tool as well within it. Okay, so in terms of Sage data analytics, which is more commonly it's also called ZBI. So it is I would say serve a different needs of customers, where you probably have a lot of different cubes to build, and in that sense where you need to integrate with a lot of different solutions other than Sage. Okay, so it does have a more matured ETL connector, and also have some AI to actually link up the table and views in that sense. So that's basically where the differences is. Okay, if you want to go in a little bit more, we can discuss this in more detail in a separate conversation. But in general, both are fully integrated business intelligence with Sage, Okay, one I would probably be much more in terms of you have a lot of integration with other solutions to be done and so on, and the other one is more of you do have some and in the sense. Okay, so the next question is there any special session for SCI? Thanks for the question. In fact, we have run multiple sessions on SCI as well. So do put it in the survey later that you're much more interested in SCI. We have done quite a few sessions on SCI, and if I'm not, and it is on our Sage website as well. But we can share a little bit more in terms of the different sessions that we have previously, and for you to view again in that sense. Okay, I think the next question is also very interesting. Sorry about delay. I'll take the last questions. I know we are 3 minutes over the hour. Why should we upgrade to version 12 from version 11, despite the more functionalities than previous version? Okay, so I think the overall question is, why do we want to upgrade from 11 to 12, other than the new functionalities? Okay, I think the main thing that I would advise most customers is one very key thing is where security is concerned. Okay, like what I was talking about just now, in terms of Apache, in terms of the newer SQL compatibility and so on. Okay, so some of the I would say not some, a lot of the components in terms of the technology-based stack, okay, because of all this vulnerability, they are also upgrading in terms of their version. So we need to stay in touch with them to make sure that we are on the latest compatibility with them as well. So for example, we no longer support Linux 7 in our latest release. So that's because they did a huge change in terms of their platform and so on, right? Which we will need to move ahead and no longer support the Linux 7. We need to move on to 8 in that sense, right? So there, it's not just Sage alone. There are also other components because of security reason, including Sage as well, that we are building much more stronger foundation and to hopefully withstand all these security attacks and increase the defensive wall in that sense. So I think this one piece is a very major piece. That's one. Of course, the next thing is as well is if you are still on version 11, okay, like what Alvin have shared just now in terms of the product life cycle in that sense, we will be ending the life in terms of the in early next year, Q1 next year, basically, right? So that's also one of the consideration, because as a software provider, we would want to ensure that we are able to keep updating our software to give you new features that all the customer require. And it's not possible for us to do it for extended period of version, because that will require us to have to utilize those time instead. We would want to give you more functionality instead, in a sense. So the other main thing is, we know that the in terms of the ease of upgrade becomes a bottleneck right now. So that's why you saw what Alvin has shared in the newer version, especially since Q1 last year. Our upgrading tools and all the additional tools that assist a lot of our customers in terms of the upgrade process is building up stronger and stronger now, so that it's much easier for you to upgrade now comparatively in the past versions. Of course, that's in view that in terms of out of customization. But even that, like what Alvin has shared, there is a customization audit tool to make sure that those customization are compatible even if you upgrade, and it lists for you in terms of which are critical, which are minor, and which are major in that sense, so that you know that which of your customization are actually having a compatibility mismatch with the new version in that sense. So with this, we know we would need to give a much easier upgrade exercise. That's what we are envisioning to be. And at the end, we cannot stop there as well. We need all our security to be up to date, because that's the utmost importance for us in Sage. Okay. With that being said, thank you for all your questions. If you have any more, reach out to your partner or drop it down into our survey form later on after this meeting, this webinar actually stops. Do spend a minute or two to fill it up so that we know you better and we can actually present a much better webinar next round. All right, with that, I would like to thank you everyone for your time to join us. Slightly over time, apologies on that. And till next time, thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.